let's start with question 1. And we'll start with this corner right up here, and they'll give us their thought as to which of the 3 statements it is. If someone disagrees, raise your hand. We'll call on you, and you can tell why you think it might be, or your group chose a different answer. So that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous position because that's what he's going to get presented with, Coburn said. I think they won't have any choice.
We put that as a value.
Value. What do you think? Value? Yeah. All right. Good job. That's what I would put it at. Question number 2. And we'll go with these 2 right over here. It won't be a cut, cap, and balance as we passed it, but it should be a package that reflects the principles of cut, cap, and balance.
We said policy.
Policy. What's the key word in that sentence that you know it's a policy?
Should.
Should. Should. See, if it has words like this right here, you know it's a policy. So should or should not. Okay. Very good. All right. Does everybody agree with them? Okay. Good. Let's go to this corner back here. Let's see. Speaker Boehner's plan, no matter how he tries to dress it up, is simply a short-term plan. Is therefore a non-starter in the Senate and with the President. What do you guys think?
Fact.
Fact, and why?
I don't know. Because he's saying that it is something that it's with certainty.
Mm-hmm. And what he would do is, if he was asked about it, he would give reasons why he believes that to be true, right? Okay. So he's taking a position and he's saying, I think this is factual. Everybody agree with that? Okay. Let's go. Yes.
Well, policy.
Yeah.
Policy?
Yeah.
Okay. And why do you think it might be policy?
Just the status quo. He's wanting the status quo to be changed.
Okay. And therefore a non-starter in the position. Okay. Do you see how that could be a policy? Okay. So what he would do and it depends on the rest of the conversation. The rest of the conversation might change more into, I want to change this policy. This should be something. So depends on how you develop your speech. It could be something that's a fact, but you could turn that fact into a policy speech. Okay? Number 4. Good catch, Christopher. Last Sunday night, Reid issued a statement saying talks broke down after Republicans continued to insist on a short-term debt ceiling raise. And we'll go right back here.
That one was confusing. I thought fact.
Okay. Anybody else? What do you think? Fact? Okay. I think it would be fact. Yep. Okay. All right, number 5, and we'll go right up here. The idea that we're going to spend another 7 months lifting the cloud of default from the American economy seems irresponsible, Tim Geithner said on Fox News Sunday. There's no reason why we have to do it that way. What do you guys think?
Policy.
Okay, policy.
It seems like they're wanting to change it.
Okay. What do the rest of you think?
Yeah, I put, we put value because he's talking about something being irresponsible, almost like it's your duty to do something right or wrong.
Okay. All right. I think it depends on where you take it. To me, as I read this, what I pick up on are the clues about it seems irresponsible and there's no reason why we have to do it that way. You could develop the speech as a policy speech, or you could develop it as this is a wise or this is a unwise. This is a ridiculous way to do it. This is not a ridiculous way to do it. This is a better way to do it. That's a worse way to do it. So you could take the topic and go either way with it. And the statement doesn't give us enough clues there. Okay. Number 6, and we'll go right here. Should parents of extremely obese children lose custody for not controlling their kids' weight? A provocative commentary in one of the nation's most distinguished medical journals argues yes. And its authors are joining a quiet chorus of advocates who say the government should be allowed to intervene in extreme cases. What do you think?
Fact.
We put fact because they're just stating what's going on. But I can also see where it's policy now.
Because
Because it's arguing why it should be, it's saying that there is an argument saying that it should be.
okay.
And I can see value on that one too, because they are also stating, is it right or wrong for the government to intervene?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That one is one that I would agree you could pull out all three of them. Depends on which part of that you want to attack. And so, for instance, you could have a speech about obesity. That might be your topic. And so you could say it's a wise thing to do for parents to teach their children about healthy eating habits. Or it's an unwise thing for you to let your children to eat lots of fried food. Okay? Or we need to pass a law mandating that all fast food restaurants only serve healthy meals. How about that? No more French fries or hamburgers.
That's unacceptable.
That's unacceptable. I agree. I'm signing a petition against that.
I like French fries.
Yes, I do too. I want to eat unhealthy.
And Chick-fil-A.
So, no. All right, so you could take that in a variety of different ways, depending on what part of that. Okay, let's do one more, and let's come back up here to these fellas up here. And let's do number 10. There's a stigma with state intervention. We just have to do it with caution, humility, and make sure we can really say that our interventions are doing more good than harm.
Go for gold.
No, you got it.
No.
You sure? Alright. That could be a fact or a value.
Okay. Fact or value? What did the rest of you all put?
Fact.
Policy.
Or it could be all three, you know?
Okay.
Wait, no, number 7 we put value.
No, number 10. Number 10.
We put value.
That's what I had.
All of the above.
Okay, it's probably a value, and here's why. Let's look at it. The last part of that really can say that our interventions are going to do more good than harm. So they're having to weigh it out. Okay, they're looking at this issue, and they don't know whether it's the best decision or the worst decision. They're going to try to make the best judgment. So they're going to present reasons why this is the wise thing to do or the unwise. So it's probably a value. It's not something that's a fact if there's this much qualification in it right off the bat. Okay? You can use this as an example. I took these right out of the newspaper, of statements right out of the news, of examples of positions that people were arguing for, trying to persuade somebody of. So this weekend, when you are trying to come up with 3 statements that are statements of a position, what you want to do is to state that in the form of a value. I'm going to say this is a wise or unwise, or a fact. I'm going to try to prove that this is true or false, or a policy that I want to start a petition, I want to change a law, or I want to make sure that we keep the status quo. For instance, with the smoking ban, people who are losing business in bars that people want to come in there and smoke, now their business is going downhill. They're trying to petition the city government to say, we need to revoke this, and we need to change the status quo now. And so you can do both ways with that. So use this as a guideline then on your developing your topics. All right. Let's go to this slide right here, and you can have a seat. And let's take a few more notes about this topic here. So if you are taking a position, what you're saying is that I want to convince somebody of this. Because this is not an informative speech. At the end of the speech, your audience needs to be convinced. So how do you do that? Well, here's some ways. You need to present arguments. These are reasons of why you feel this to be the wise or unwise false or true, or the thing that we should do with a law or a policy to change it or not change it. These are the reasons. Remember, in a speech, it's not so much what you think about it, it's what the experts say about it. And so what you need to do in your research, which you have to have 8 sources, right? You have 8 sources, and 4 of them have to be current sources, which means in the last 6 months. Then you need to find experts who give reasons about the topic, one way or the other. And that's what you need to be looking for. You also can convince people using these 3 things here. This was talked about in our chapter that you were supposed to read as well, right? So can someone tell me what these 3 words mean? Let's start with ethos. What's ethos?
Like credibility.
Yes. We get the word ethics from it as well, but it's talking about what the audience sees in the speaker. Now, we come down here and talk about credibility again and say that prior credibility, which is what your chapter talked about as well. One of the things that you all have done this semester with each other, because you're talking to this audience right here. You're not talking to some audience somewhere else. With this speech, you have to talk to here, and you have to convince these people. You have prior credibility because with each of your speeches, you have used sources, right? Okay? In fact, Mrs. Kyle requires you to, so that when you talk, it's not just your opinion. You have shown and demonstrated that you can use experts. And so you have prior credibility. But you have to, with this speech, also acquire credibility, and that is how you are going to use those sources. You have to do a really good job of coming up with good quality sources. In other words, you might have used Google sources in the past. For this speech, you need to raise the bar and only use sources that you find through the library website. Here's a really good source, and you can write this down. LexisNexis Academic. LexisNexis Academic. And you can find that through the library website. You go to subject guides. And when you do that, the first thing that will pop up is COM 115. And then that will take you to all sorts of information about COM 115. And one of the information, if you click on enough tabs there, it will take you to LexisNexis Academic. When I was in COM 115, I gave a speech about how important communication skills are. Every single source that I got off of LexisNexis Academic. Okay? So you have to use good quality sources, and that way, when you are presenting, people will listen to you because it's not just your opinion. Because frankly, if I share my opinions with you, they don't really count for much. You know? For instance, my son went to the Navy, and he became a gunner's mate, and today he's a federal police officer in the Denver Mint, and he trains people to kill people with guns. Okay. You know what I think of guns? I think they ought to be outlawed. But that's just my opinion. My opinion doesn't really count for much. See, it's not opinions, it's credible sources that we want to hear from. Okay? Pathos is what?
Emotions.
Emotions. Yes. We're going to talk about that in just a second. And logos is? Logic. More than anything else, you need to present logical reasons why you are arguing for your position. This needs to be built on good logic that goes from here to here to here. In other words, if we have to know this before this, you need to present it that way. You need to present your information logically. Competence and dynamism deal a lot with pathos. Okay? Pathos is how we present that information. Okay? You can have the same information, and Christopher could come up here and present that information, and Dallas could present that information, and Mariah could present that information, but everybody present it differently. And that's because everybody has a different emotional capacity to share information. With our classes, all of our classes, we start off with easy assignments, don't we? Okay? At the beginning of the semester, I like it that way. We have easy assignments, okay? Like your first speech was worth how many points? 25. 25, your second was worth 50, okay? So, this one is worth how many points? 100, okay. What's the longest paper anybody has to write this semester? Anybody have to write a 5-page paper in any of your classes? 10-page paper? 10, 20, oh my goodness. I take another class. No. So, as you go along, you have to take you have to do harder assignments. Now, guys, when it says that it's worth 100 points, that means for this speech, you literally have to bring your A game. Everything that you have learned all semester long, everything that Mrs. Kyle has taught you, you need to put that all together in this speech. And this literally needs to be your best speech. This is your 20-page paper, or your 10-page paper. Put more effort into this speech than you have any other. Find the best sources, use the best reasoning, and then when it comes to how you present it in the most dynamic way. Okay, dynamism in your book is defined as spontaneous enthusiasm. So anybody can present information. But what is going to make your speech stand out as an A-quality speech, and that's what I'd like to get on a speech, is an A, is the dynamism that you bring to that information. So if you can talk about your subject, and you can use everything you learned about gestures and movement and eye contact and voice and variation, then you are going to have a dynamic speech. And that's what you want to end up with. This is where you bring your best qualities to the speech and bring the most emotion to it. Okay, this shouldn't be a speech where you stand up here with your note cards and just read them. Okay, literally what I think, my opinion is, you should only look at, for speech 4, look at your note cards about 20% of the time at most, and 80% of the time you ought to be looking at your audience. Because with my eyes, I can connect with you. And the sparkle in my eye, and the smile on my face, and the enthusiasm in my voice is what dynamism is. And that's what you need to bring for speech 4. It needs to be extra special. Just knock Mrs. Kyle's socks off. You know, when you all get up here and do this, you will say, Mr. Iman came in and taught our class, and it was so incredible. He taught us such great information, and now we all get A's for speech 4. Right? Yes. It will totally shock her. Okay, so that's what I want you to do, is to make this your best speech. Now, in convincing an audience, you have to figure out what persuades an audience. And it's different for everybody. Okay? Now, when you're talking, you have to figure out what this audience believes about your issue. Okay? You may want to do a survey. You may want to really sit down and think about what your audience thinks about it. But you need to know that. For instance, these 4 different chairs. Different types of people are going to want those chairs, right? Okay. If you were going to buy one of those chairs, which chair would you buy?
A red one.
Oh, wow, the red one.
All day.
Here?
No.
Here.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. The Big Daddy recliner. Uh-huh. Okay, who said the red chair?
Me.
Okay. Yeah. How about the green chair?
That one's cool. It looks like a seashell.
Cool. Yeah. All right. I used to sell furniture, and we would get in a different kind of chair, maybe like this, or maybe like this, that has actual feet. Okay. When people came in the door, and they said, I want a chair, do you think I said, I got just the chair for you? And I rushed every person that came in that said, I want a chair.
No.
I rushed them over here and said, okay, you've got to buy this chair. Oh, this is the most wonderful chair. It has 4 legs. It's so cool. It's red. Red is the color that says you're alive. And I give them all the reasons why they should buy the chair.
No.
Okay. What do you think I did? Okay, I asked them what they're looking for.
You try and figure out what kind of person they are and fit the chair with them.
Yeah, right. And so if she comes in her walker, you know, like this, that's right, that's right. You know, when you have trouble getting up and down, I figured out that old people like a chair that's not too low, okay, because they get way down here, they can't get out. So they want a chair like that. And at some point, you have to have a chair that actually pushes you out, okay?
My grandma has one of those. It's so fun. It's like a roller
Do you
coaster.
play with it? I used to play with my
Oh,
grandma.
yeah.
And so at different points in your life, you need it. So think about this with your audience. Whatever topic you choose, think about the people in this room. It doesn't matter what your roommates think about it or anybody else, but think about this audience. Okay, what are the people in this audience? What is going to convince them? And that's how you should present your speech. All right?
We have less than 5 minutes.
We have less than 5 minutes. All right. So let's stop there. And you can stop the thing.